A giant warship is rising in Turkish shipyards, bigger than France's flagship, packed with drones, jets, and ambition. As tensions flare across the Mediterranean, is Turkey preparing to change the balance of power? Turkey is making a bold naval statement at a time when global tensions are rising. While much of the world remains focused on the United States' blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, Ankara is quietly pushing ahead with one of its most ambitious military projects yet, the construction of its first national aircraft carrier, the Mugem. Turkey's Naval Forces Commander, Admiral Ercüment Tatlıoğlu, said last week that the carrier is expected to be finished towards the end of next year. That timeline has caused a stir, as it suggests the hull could be completed almost a year earlier than originally planned. The Mugem is set to become the largest warship ever built in Turkey. It is expected to displace 60,000 tons and stretch 285 meters in length. That would make it larger than France's Charles de Gaulle, which has until now been regarded as the Mediterranean's most powerful flagship. The vessel is designed to carry up to 60 aircraft and will feature a short takeoff system. Many in Ankara see the rapid progress as a sign that Turkey is determined to strengthen its deterrence capabilities against rival states. The project was officially launched only in August 2025, with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan personally attending the ceremony. The move comes amid rising tensions between Turkey and Israel. Israeli political figures from both government and opposition have increasingly compared Turkey to Iran. Former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, widely seen as a possible future leader, told a conference in Washington in February that Turkey was the next Iran. Experts say regional alliances are also driving Ankara's naval ambitions. Meysuna Yassar, an academic specializing in Turkish naval power, told Middle East Eye,
"The warming relations between Greek Cyprus and Israel have made this alliance very effective, and their posture is becoming quite aggressive. Turkey is becoming isolated in the eastern Mediterranean, and this aircraft carrier is both an additional capability and a strategic necessity."
Although the idea of a Turkish aircraft carrier dates back to the early 1990s, the project gained momentum after 2017. Earlier plans had relied on the purchase of American F-35 stealth fighters, but Turkey was expelled from that program in 2019. Instead, Ankara now plans to deploy domestically developed platforms on board, including the Kızılelma unmanned fighter jet, the Hurjet light combat aircraft, a possible naval version of the Kaan fifth-generation fighter jet, and the Bayraktar TB3 drone, which is already operating from the TCG Anadolu. Former Turkish ambassador Alper Koskun said the carrier would strengthen Turkey's position within NATO, especially as Washington urges allies to contribute more while hinting at a reduced role in Europe. But he also warned that such projects come at a cost and could fuel new tensions across the region. The Mugem is expected to be fully operational by 2030 and fitted with advanced defensive systems to counter drones and missile threats. Supporters argue it will protect Turkey's growing interests in Libya, Sudan, Somalia, and beyond. Critics say limited financial resources should instead be spent on fighter jets, destroyers, and air defense systems.
Security cooperation between Israel, Greece and Cyprus has been brewing for years. Joint air, land and naval exercises building towards something bigger. Now, according to Israeli news outlet Ynet, that something bigger might be a full-blown military alliance aimed squarely at Turkey. While Israeli officials have publicly shot down Greek media reports claiming the three countries plan to form a joint intervention force, Ynet has learned a very different story is unfolding behind closed doors. Israel's political leadership has already informed the IDF about such a plan and ordered the military to start preliminary planning. But according to Ynet, no concrete steps have been taken yet. Military planners in Tel Aviv are sitting tight, waiting for further marching orders from PM Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz. For now, the government has told the IDF not to move beyond initial planning stages. They're being cautious and for good reason. Ynet believes that if established, the primary mission of a Greek-Israeli Cypriot intervention force would likely be to counter Turkish activity in the eastern Mediterranean. The force would be tasked with protecting the economic and strategic interests of Israel, Greece and Cyprus, and potentially Egypt in the region. These interests include defending offshore natural gas and oil production zones, as well as fishing rights in contested waters claimed by Turkey and the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, a self-declared entity formed after Turkey's 1974 invasion of the island. The proposed force could also safeguard Israel's planned natural gas pipeline to Europe, which Turkey vehemently opposes, and extend to the ongoing sovereignty disputes between Greece and Turkey over several Aegean islands. It's essentially a Mediterranean power play wrapped in a security partnership. Although Greece and Turkey are both members of NATO, their decades-long hostility, largely rooted in the Cyprus issue, remains unresolved and carries the risk of renewed escalation. Turkey's military, particularly its navy and ground forces, is larger, more modern and more capable than Greece's. Ankara also holds an advantage in defense manufacturing, driven by a rapidly expanding domestic military industry. However, Turkey's air force is considered relatively weaker. Israeli security officials believe that if Israel were to join forces with Greece and Greek Cyprus, contributing the IDF's aerial power and intelligence capabilities, it could significantly alter the balance of power in the eastern Mediterranean. Ynet analysis says that such a shift could deter Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan from escalating tensions with Athens. Yet, as Ynet explains, Israel's primary strategic objective isn't picking a fight with Turkey, it's creating what military strategists call a flanking deterrent. The real goal is containing Erdogan's expanding military presence along Israel's northern and southern borders, which has grown increasingly aggressive and threatening. Since the collapse of Bashar Assad's regime in Syria, Turkey has aggressively expanded its military and political footprint there. This includes deploying early warning radar systems and air defense batteries that could restrict Israel's freedom of aerial operations over Syria, Iraq and even Iran, narrowing the IDF's strategic options. Israeli concerns have also intensified over the potential inclusion of Turkish troops in a proposed international stabilization force for Gaza, outlined in US President Donald Trump's 20-point peace plan. Jerusalem strongly opposes Turkish participation, arguing it would limit Israel's ability to prevent Hamas from rebuilding its military infrastructure. Israeli officials warn that a Turkish brigade-sized deployment could facilitate weapons smuggling into Gaza or assist Hamas through dual-use materials. In response, Israel appears to be signaling a countermove, advancing the idea of a joint intervention force with Greece and Cyprus as a political and military counterweight to Ankara. According to Ynet, the proposal remains at a conceptual stage. Preliminary planning is underway, but the idea currently exists largely through regional media reports, particularly in Greece, seemingly intended to signal to Ankara that the option remains firmly on the table.